What's going on, everyone? So a lot of questions about Devin Vassell. How is he going to fit? What is the long-term goal for Devin Vassell from the San Antonio Spurs perspective, right? You got Stephon Vassell, you got Dylan Harper. If they keep and stick around with De'Aaron Fox for the long term, then where does Devin Vassell fit? At some point, you're going to have to make a decision on some of these guys. Now, it doesn't mean that they necessarily have to do it this season, but Devin Vassell's coming off of a disappointing season. Guys are going to start having to get paid. Right? Devin Vassell's making a pretty hefty paycheck. And after the disappointment last year, it's kind of raised the questions of should they look to move him and trade him in a consolidation trade? Now, look, I understand he's coming off of injury last year, but he was healthy for a good majority. And when he first got back, I even defended. I said, hey, let's wait. Give him some time. Let him kind of come to his own. Let's see. And you just saw that never change. Right? He just continued to be inconsistent, continued to be all over the place, just didn't look right. And now you have several guys that are coming in that can play his role, play his part, and bare minimum, his production's probably going to go down. So he's going to have to be more efficient in the limited role, right? There's just a lot about Devin Vassell. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but it might even be best for him to go elsewhere as far as his growth and development in this league. 24 years old, he'll be 25 in a couple weeks. So again, he's a guy that's going to, he's getting into that hey, I'm entering my prime soon. Is the Spurs the place that he's going to continue to progress in that in? Well, he has been working his tail off to his credit this offseason. I mean, he's been doing 2-a-days, all kinds of stuff to really kind of try to get into a rhythm, get into a flow. And look, I'm sure he's sensing and feeling the pressure. If we're being honest, you don't think he's noticed they just drafted Devin Vassell Dylan Harper, and then the previous year drafted Stephon Vassell. You don't think his days are probably numbered, right? And yes, technically you could slot him in at the 3, but he's a 2. He's undersized at the 3. He's 6'5". At least Stephon Vassell, you could argue, okay, well, Devin Vassell at the 2 and Stephon Vassell, he's 6'6", 6'7", slot in at the 3. But even then, it's okay, what are you going to do with Dylan Harper? Right? Maybe the long-term approach is Harper, Vassell, and Stephon Vassell, and then maybe go Carter Bryant at the 4 and Victor Wembanyama at the 5. Maybe that's your long-term kind of Spurs roster and rotation, but you need to see the growth from Devin Vassell. Right? You started to see it, and it looked good. It was okay, is this the year he's going to get over that hump? Get over that 20, but can he just go to 23 games, start to show that he can be that guy, be that bucket getter, be that two-way guy? His defense, right? He's not bad. He's not a bad defender, but it's the lack of engagement at times. Right? He's very inconsistent in that regard. He's going to have to be better on both sides of the basketball, being able to knock down the 3 ball with some efficiency, right? And not be this roller coaster ride at times. Right? He has stretches where he's just brilliant. And you watch him at times and you're like, dude, this guy is unbelievable. But then you watch him in stretches, literal stretches, where you're just it's time for him to go. And to say last season wasn't disappointing would be a lie. Right? It was disappointing for what the expectation was. And again, he had time before the De'Aaron Fox. Maybe the De'Aaron Fox thing kind of threw a wrench into it. Maybe it was circumstantial. Right? I'm always willing to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's coming back from injury. As he started to come into his own, started to feel comfortable out there, all of a sudden De'Aaron Fox, he ends up getting traded and kind of throws a wrench into the whole thing. That's a very real possibility. Right? That De'Aaron Fox just kind of, messed things up a little bit for Devin Vassell. They're still running Chris Paul, so they were and then you're running Stephon Vassell, and it's just, he kind of was getting this and put in this kind of inconsistent mess. And look, I've talked about it, Mitch, his lineups and rotation was not great. The lineup structure, I just wasn't a fan of. So maybe that all gets cleaned up. Maybe that gets changed this year. Maybe he's better. Right? It's a very real possibility. But this season might be very well the make or break season for Devin Vassell. It is very possible that he's a guy that could be the difference between hey, this season, yeah, he's definitely a long-term piece, or no, get rid of him this offseason, right? Or the trade deadline or something like that. I mean, that's a very real possibility. Problem is that if he doesn't perform the way you need him to, that could tank his value. Right? So, I mean, could argue last season might have been the best opportunity to trade him. However, going into his stats, let's go over his stats a little bit, right? So 64 games played last year, 53 games started. He played 31 minutes per game, 14 field goal attempts, which was down from the last 2 years. Put up 15.7 and 15.5. Shot 44.3% from the floor, which was down from last year at 47.2, although in 2022-2023, it was overall better, but three-point shooting, right? He shot 36.8% from three-point range, which is right around his career average, 36.9 on 6.7 attempts. However, he was 37.2 on 6.6 attempts the previous year and 38.7 on 7 attempts in 2022-2023. So he's down last 2 years. Now you might think, oh, it's only 0.4, but still, like, that's a difference, right? And then you look at 2-point range. He was 51.3% on 7.2 attempts. The previous year, he was 54.4% on 9 attempts. Now, look, I'm not trying to say he's inefficient. He's still shooting, just under 37% from 3-point range on good volume, as well as 51 or over 50% on 2-point range, right? So that's good. He's good. He's still efficient. But again, it's the consistency is an issue, right? That you want to see clean up. Like what's the difference between just like a really good player and all-star or superstar? It's the consistency. Right? Like bad nights are usually good nights for normal guys. Like you see games where Devin Vassell, it's like he wasn't even out there on the basketball court. No, I mean, how many games did we see last year where he's 1 of 11 or 1 of 9 from the field with like 7 points, and it was only because he hit 1 3 and had 4 free throws. It's those kind of things that are the disappointments. But EFG at 53.2%, which again was down from last year at 55%, but was up from 2022-2023 at 52.5%. Free throw shooting, 79.2% on 1.9 attempts. So got to the foul line. Less, almost, a little over a full attempt less than the previous year, in which he shot 80%. Rebounds, 4 rebounds, which is right on par where he's at. He was 4 rebounds on the dot, where the last handful of years he was 3.8, 3.9. So right around the dot. Assists, right? 3 assists. Where again was down from the last 2 seasons, 4.1, 3.6. Steals, 1.3, which was actually up. I mean, he's 1.1 across the board. So it's basically locked in to get you at least a steal a game, which is good. But 1.3 steals, half a block, 16.3 points, which again was down from 19.5 and 18.5 the last 2 years. This is the 3rd lowest scoring of his career, behind his first 2 seasons in the league, right? So again, you wanted to see that progress. You wanted to see that growth. You wanted to see that potential. And again, he took a little bit of a step back. Now, I don't think it's anything, alarming yet. We'll see. And I do think the Spurs will give him a shot. But it's good to see him in the gym, in the lab, working on his game, trying to, and again, like I said, I'm sure he's feeling some pressure. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot as we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.